Good day, gentlemen. Welcome to the Empress Club. Thank you for joining me. This is chapter 5, Know Thyself. This is your humble vassal, Professor J. Mark. Excuse me. Uh, I had since probably around 10 years, 11 years old, I've always heard this, man, know thyself. And I was wondering, how am I going to know myself? I can understand it can't be the same principle you use to know other people because you will ask them their favorite color, what they like, what movies they watch, what they don't like. So how am I going to interview myself? How am I going to ask me questions about myself if I already know the answer? So how do I know myself? Excuse me. And it took me a while to figure this out, but I didn't know. Well, for me, know thyself started out with paying attention to my birthday, or anyone's birthday for that matter. Now, how this came about, and I think it was 10 years old. We were in Sunday school, and someone had asked the Sunday school teacher about astrology, and she said, "Oh, it's demonic, it's evil, it's of the devil." So I was like, "All right, I don't know what that is. Astrology, what is that?" Now, little did I know, I was aware of it, but I didn't know it because my birthday usually fell on Good Fridays as a young man. So I would always check my birthday on the calendar. And since I was born April 17th, my astrological sign was Aries. And I would read it. It didn't apply to me. And I found out why it didn't apply to me much later, years later. Almost like what? That was 10, I found out 15, 16, 17 years later why I'm not a typical Aries. This is why know thyself is very important. Now, to know yourself, to me, the simplest building block to knowing yourself is to study your birthday. Like for me, I was born April 17th in the year of the water rat, which was 1972. And, excuse me, I read a book by Linda Goldman ages ago. And she said that if you're not aware of the forces that influence you, you will always be a slave to them. And through her, I came across a deeper understanding of astrology and Aries. So I learned that I'm an Aries, and because of that, the weaknesses of Aries don't affect me like it should, like it does an average Aries, because I was aware of it much earlier in life, and I was able to deal with it much earlier in life. And you know what that is? It's lack of patience, which I work with today, and my temper. My temper, I think I have more control over my temper than my lack of patience. My patience is my cross. I only get patience for the elderly and children. For in a category, I have no patience for you. I'm working on changing that. But like Linda Goldman says, if you're not aware of the forces around you, you're a slave to it. I'm aware of it. That's my weakness. Now, in college, I was looking for, I can't remember which book I was looking for. L. Ron Hubbard. Because I saw everyone was reading Dianetics. I'm like, what is this about? And I read it. I brought the book back to the library, and I went, what else does he have? Because, Dianetics didn't move me at all. It was just a big book of nothing, my opinion. While looking, I saw Chinese astrology. I was like, what? So I checked it out. I looked at it. Aries didn't fit me well. I found out in 2000 why Aries didn't fit me well. But studying Chinese astrology, I explained myself to the teeth. I was born in the year of the rat, being born in 1972. And being born in 1972, that makes me a water rat. It explains a lot. But in particular, why my favorite color is red, but I love wearing blue. I just love blue. For some reason. Most people know me be like, how could red be your favorite color, but you always wear blue? But I know why. I was born in the year of the water rat. And studying the characteristics of the rat, I saw myself. I understood myself much better. I understand the influences that are affecting me. In the same way, I'm able to counteract the negative aspects of being a rat and a water rat. So guess what? Now, the month I was born, the year I was born, was losing this power over me because I'm aware of how it is influencing me. Well, that was around what, 1995, 97. In 2000, I learned that my being born on the 17th is the reason why I'm not a typical Aries. Now, there's two aspects of numerology I came across. Actually, a witch introduced me to numerology. I know, right? Um, she introduced me to numerology, and I found a book called The Divine Triangle, Numerology and Divine Triangle. That's an awesome book, people. If you don't get any book, because I have after I'm done the first 12 chapters of Empress Club, I'm going to do a book review of some of the books that mean a lot to me and that may help you, that could get you on your journey to deeper wisdom and understanding. I learned that because I was born in 17, and in numerology, you break numbers, double numbers, digits down to single digit. And I was born on the 8th. Now, I was born in 17, but I'm influenced by 8, which is quote unquote ruled by Saturn. And Saturn counteracts Aries. Like, you will never know I'm an Aries until I lose my temper. And then I understood why. And in addition to that, I had to learn how 17 affects me and how 8 affects me. Well, excuse me. And I was so fascinated by the study that it led me to read even more books about it. And I came across Indian numerology, which was very in depth. And in addition to studying the day you were born and it was in double digits, you break it down to single digit. I learned that since I was born on the 17th, I have to study 1 and the 7. So I had to go and read all my books again to study 1 and 7 because that is the number to make up 17. And I saw myself nuances, aspects of my personality that didn't make sense. That it made sense. They're born at 17 counteracts my being born in April, making me an Aries. It counteracts it. So you never know I'm an Aries until you make me mad. That's a different story. But I'm far more intelligent than to the point where I don't need to lose my temper because I see it's destructive. When I get angry, I know it's counterproductive to who I am and what I'm trying to do with life. So I keep my temper under control. So you're rarely going to see it unless you threaten my life. Then you will meet a different person. So, and I learned also about how the days, the numerology affects you to the point where it determines what your quote unquote journey in life is going to be, what your lessons in life are going to be. And when I look back over my life, I'm like, oh my God, everything makes sense. And I can't remember which book it was, whether it was the book on Indian astrology or the Divine Triangle. I doubt it's the Divine Triangle, which says that the more you understand influences that affect you, the less pressure they exert on you. And I learned, especially being ruled by Saturn, that things happen. I know Murphy's Law very well. Now I understood why Murphy's Law was my next door neighbor. And in fact, paying me rent a bit from living in my basement. Murphy's Law is no joke. And people who are born on the 8, 17, 26 may know what I mean. I hope not, because really and truly, Murphy's Law is no joke. But I understand that. So when adversity and nonsense come to my life, I understand where it's coming from. So I don't respond like an Aries to it when my life gets disrupted. And then I learned something also, that there's usually either a lesson to be learned. I had to be aware of something I had a blind spot to. Usually when I look over my life, I see the nonsense that came into my life was to open my eyes up to a blind spot or flaws in my plan or bad timing. So I learned all of this in the study of knowing myself. Of course, there's more to it, like Neil Clark Warren, he does good work. You can check his books out, even though it's a relationship book, but he focuses on, well, the book I read, the first one, uh, the primary relationship you need to develop is the one with yourself. And he had like a list of things that, like take for example, a job. Then you have a category: jobs you hate, jobs you would never do, jobs you would do out of necessity, a job you don't mind doing, a job you would love to do. And excuse me. And he just said list all of those. And it went from jobs, places you would like to live, the type of home you like to live in. And you know what? You became more and more aware of how you feel about certain things, from the gamut from hate to love. And I can't remember what exactly was in the book. That was like 20 years ago. I'm thinking about whether or not I should include his books in the book club, but not right now, because it's not, the Empress Club is not about relationships right now. It's about getting yourself right. But you don't only have to know thyself by studying astrology and numerology. Neil Clark Warren has a good system that helps you look at yourself. So, excuse me. So, when you read the book, it's going to be more in depth, because, you know, this kid into the 10-year-olds to 18-year-olds. So, I don't overload them with stuff that's too deep. But in the book, it's going to be overloaded. Everything is going to be in the book. When well, that's about it. You know, I'm just going to hold back on that, but it's going to be in the book. And I don't think there's any subject matter you should study more than knowing thyself, and how the day you were born affects you. Month, day, and year. They have powerful and profound effects on who you are, who shape you, that shape you to the person you are. And of course, once you do that, you can examine your life based on how the influences or circumstances around you affected you. Because if someone being born on April 17, 1972, and let's say they're born in Switzerland, their parents are billionaires, their view of life is going to be different than mine, because their experience is different, but we born the same time. So their experience is going to be different than mine, but we will have basically the same pattern. But they won't be me and I won't be them, even though we're born at the same time. So you have to take into account your circumstances and how it affects you. But the first thing to begin with is you, actually, the person who drew the first breath when you were born. So the day, month, and year you were born is very important. That's it, gentlemen. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you spending time with me. Goodbye. I will catch you in the 6th chapter. It's called Read. I hope that says it all. All right. Goodbye.